Okay, the famous two-sum question. So this is a Leet code question. It's number one actually. So it's the very first Leet code question, I guess, that was inputted here. And the question goes: given an array of integers nums and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. You can return the answer in any order. So given an array of integers, if you're using Python, it's a list of integers, and an integer target. So the example here is you have this list or an array, and the target is 9, and you wanna see the indices where two numbers equal to 9. So for this one, 0 is 2 and 1 is 7, and therefore 2 plus 7 is 9. 2 plus 7 is 9. So my thought process here is, okay, so we have to check this number with all the other numbers. So 2 with 7, 2 with 11, 2 with 15. And then we'd have to check 7 with all the other numbers except for this number, because except for the previous number, because we've already found that out. So check 7 with 11, 7 with 15, and then go to the next one, check 11 with 15, and then you don't have to check 15 with 11. So then that's good. So there would be some type of for loop going on here. So a for loop that would check all these other numbers. Well, actually, at first you want to find a for loop for each of these numbers, and then an inner for loop to check the number with all the other numbers. Okay, so let me write this down. So in that case, we would have to check, so something like this. So we have to check 0 with 1. So these are indices. We'd have to check 0 with 1, 0 with 2, 0 with 3. So that's 0 with 1, 0 with 2, 0 with 3. Then after that, for the next loop, we'd have to check 1 with 2 and 1 with 3. And then for the very last loop, we check 2 with 3. That's it. So that's my thought process right there. So now we'd have to figure out. So for the inner loop, we'd have to decrease the inner loop by 1 each time. If you look at this, so we have this loop which goes 0, 1, 2. Then we have another inner loop that goes 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, and then 3. So we have to somehow decrease that loop by 1 each time. So let's see. We would have to make a double for loop. So for example, if nums is equal to 2, let's see the example, 2, 7, 11, 15. So we say for I in number. So for I in each number, let's just write it for in each number. So for I in each number, so 0, 1, 2, 3 for each number, or actually it's probably better for nums. Let's try first round. So I is equal to 0 right now. So we'd have to check I with I plus 1. And when I mean equals, I mean like you have to check to see if those two numbers equals to target. So that's what check is. Check to see if I plus 1 is equal to target. I'm just gonna put it like this because it's easier to see. So we'd have to check 0 with 0 plus 1, which is 1. So that's similar to up here. We're checking 0 and 1. So that's first round. So by first round I mean first loop. And then we check I with I plus 2, and then check I with I plus 3. So this is 0, 0 with 1, 0 with 2, and 0 with 3. Okay. And then we go to second round. Now I is equal to 1. We'd have to check I is equal to I plus 1, and check I is equal to I plus 2. So I now is 1, so we're checking 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, so we're checking 1 with 2 and then 1 with 3. Okay? And then the third round, which is the last round, I is equal to 2 now. We check I is equal to I plus 1. So now I is equal to 2, and I plus 1 is 3. So we're checking 2 and 3. Okay, so now this looks a little better to understand via code. So let's try to, start making some code here. So let's go test.py. So this is the so this is just the Python script that we can use here. So let's start with making a for loop. So for I in range of the length of the numbers. So for each number, so numbers 2, 7, 11, 15. We'd have to notice though that we only go up to 2. So 0, 1, 2, even though the length of numbers is 4. 0, 1, 2, length is 4. So we don't even access the third index here. So we can actually, I assume, go -1 here. So for I in range up to 3, because up to 3 is 0, 1, 2, we'd have to make another for loop. So for every number we check, so for every number nums we check every other number. So for q in range, let's see. So for this one, I plus 1, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1. So we start with 1. And then 1, 2, 3, that's going to be the length of the nums. Right? And we have to somehow figure out how to decrease it by 1 each time. And what we can do is actually decrease it by I each time. So right now we have, so for every loop here, it'll go, so for the first loop, it'll go 1, 2, 3, length of numbers is 4, and I is 0, right? So it'll go 1, 2, 3. For the second loop, I is now 1, so it'll go 1, 2, it'll just go up to 1 to 2. Yeah, because now this is 3. And then after that, for the third loop, this is now 2. And so this goes 1, and then 4 minus 2 is just 2. So this only goes 1, which is what we want. Yeah, okay. So now we have the 2 for loops. Now we have to do the check. So let's just write a check. So check is going to be equal to nums I. So that's going to be, so let's say we start at 0. So this is going to be the number 2, or the 0 index, plus nums. So we want to go I plus, and then 1, I plus 2, I plus 3, so that's q. So that goes up q each time. And then let's just, if check is equal to target, we return I and I plus q. So let me try to explain this again. So we're going to check I, so let's say this is index 0 with I plus 1. And then after that, for the next, it's going to be I plus 2, I plus 3, and then after that, this goes to the next one. So basically what we're doing here is exactly the same as what we're doing here. And then if we do find a target, then we return I plus q. So we return the indices of that. So what does this say? Oh, no parameter. So what's the target? Target is equal to 9. And then let's print that out and see what we get. So that was test.py. So 0 and 1, is that correct here? 0 and 1, okay. Let's try 3, 2, and 4. And we want 6 and 1 and 2. So this actually works. This works. The only problem that I found with this solution, though, is that it took too long. So actually, I'll show you my submissions here. The time limit exceeded, and then I submitted it again because I was like, bro, this works though. And I did submit it again, and my solution came to be really, really, really slow, and everyone else was like up here. So I did look at someone else's answer. I did look at someone else's answer. So let's get out of here. I did look at someone else's answer. Test phi. Oopsies. Test phi. And let me pull it up here. Let's call it def to some part 2 self nums targets. Okay, so basically what they did is instead of making a double for loop, they use the in operator to see, they use a dictionary and an in operator. Like in my mind, an in operator is similar to another loop. Like it's another iterator to see if something is within something else, but apparently it isn't, and it's a lot faster than another for loop. So the one who came up with this solution I saw on LeetCode was Payman NP, so that was their solution. So what they did was they created a dictionary called scene. So what the scene dictionary is going to do is it's going to store every single number that they find in it. So actually let me just go over it a little bit more here. Let's see description. I want a bigger one. 2, 7, 11, and 15. Okay, so actually let me like build this out, and then I'll explain it. So they use the enumerate operator for I num in enumerate nums. So enumerate basically is a more modern version of the for loop, and it allows you to use the index with the element of the nums when you're going through a for loop, or when you're iterating over a list or a dictionary. So that's what that is. And we want to find the number that adds up to target. We want to find x. Okay, so find the number that adds up to target. So if you remember basic algebra, let's say target is equal to x plus number. Okay, so basically what we want to find is x. So we have two numbers that you want to add up to target, and you want to find x, which we don't know. This we can rearrange, just go x is equal to target minus num. Okay, so now we want to find target minus num. So let's instead of x, let's call this remaining. So the remaining number we want to find the remaining number. So how do we do that? So let's say if remaining, well actually, okay, how do we do this? So we can put the number that we have, so the element. So let's say, so right now this is the first iteration. We want to put 2 inside of this, right? So let's put 2 as a key to the dictionary, and that is equal to the index. Scene is equal to num. So now we put the value, the element value, into a dictionary, and the index is the key value. So we put it in as a key value pair, and then we say if remaining is in scene. So the in operator will see if any number is within a key of a dictionary. So if you use it with a dictionary, it checks all the keys. Then we return the value in the remaining. So remember, for this one, we put the value of the remaining, or we put the value of the number as the index. So we just return the index. We return the index in that dictionary, and then we return I. And the problem, okay, so there's a problem with putting this up here. So actually we'd want it to go else scene num is equal to I instead of this. And the problem with putting it up here is, let's say that you have 6 here, and then you have like 3, 2, and 4. So technically right now we want 1 and 2, right? We want 1 and 2. But if we put the remaining, if we put this statement here, then it'll go, okay, so remaining is equal to target minus num 3. So target is 6 minus 3, so the remaining is going to be 3. And then we put scene 3 into the scene dictionary. So we put 3 into the scene dictionary, and then after that it's going to say if remaining, which is 3, is in scene, then return scene minus I. So scene remaining and then I. So that's just going to be 0, 0, because 3 plus 3 is 6. So if you have this statement here, it won't account for duplicates, or like if the number adds up together to target. So that's why we have it here. So instead of so if we put it here, that doesn't happen. So the remaining is going to be 3. Is 3 in the dictionary? No, it's not. So now we're going to put 3 in the dictionary with its index, with its index. And then now it goes to the next one. Okay, so now we have 2. Target, so 6 minus number, so 6 minus 2 is 4. Is 4 inside scene? No, it's not. So we're going to put 2 in this dictionary. Now it's up to 4. So 6 minus 4 is 2. Remaining, so remaining is 2. Is 2 in the scene dictionary? Yes, it is. So now we can access that key, and then put its value, which is the I that we put in, which is 0, 1, and then 2, and then we return that. So that's going to be equal to 1 and 2. So let's try that out. So p test.py, and that's 1 and 2. And this answer actually became really fast. So for submissions, this one came up all the way up here. So yeah. So that is the two-sum